I'm Dream Queen, you in the cab with me and Travis and Michael. What's up, y'all?
What's going on, everyone?
Everybody feeling irie or what?
Great to be back.
Yeah.
Blessed again.
Blessed again. Give him the line. I've been quoting your line all week.
Oh, no. Living the dream, hoping it's mine.
That's it, man. You know, I'm trying to remind everybody, and I was telling Travis, y'all, we were folks in the astrology world talking about this Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, and I keep reminding y'all, it's a perfect field for creating the dream, recreating our dreams of the reality that we want to live in. And so, you know, a couple of people brought that up, you know, to me this week, and I'm like, it's like Travis always say, living the dream and hoping it's mine, not getting caught up in this nightmare that is trying to get shoved at us, no?
No. Mm-mm.
It's a lot too much. It's all the information age was bound to come with too many ingredients.
Yeah, like you were just talking off mic about the stew.
Yeah. It's hard to like pick it apart and decide what ingredients you could do anything with because it's too much. You know, it's strange. Like we eat a lot of different kind of food, we think, but when you look at plants, we're only using like 5% of edible foods on the planet. You know, just because we've decided to farm certain things in a certain way, we've taken all those other ingredients out, but also to simplify, you know, because is too much, you know? Is that the human condition? Like a little was good, so more must be better.
That's like kind of the catch-22, isn't it? I find myself thinking about that in capitalism and growing up in the 80s, being a child of the 70s, growing up in the 80s, with a lot of talk was Russia. Oh, look, we're right back here. But communism, and yeah, this video of everybody standing in line for their one type of bread or their one type of jeans, and folks who grew up on food assistance back in those days, you get your can of this with the chicken on the front, but you just have that one type. And then, you know, in America, we're like, oh, this is too bad for them because they can only get one kind of thing, but I could get these 10 different types of jeans, there's 10 different brands of toilet paper, and then you just standing in the grocery store and you're just like, which one is the right one? And then you look at your pocket and you're like, I guess that one that I can afford is the right one, actually.
Right. Or those of us who are old enough to know what it was like to be overwhelmed by Blockbuster Video.
Oh, God.
Even me, honestly.
Let's go to the video store. You gotta go to the video store like 2 hours before you actually want to watch the movie.
I was rating the 99-cent rental section for sure. Yeah. That narrowed it down for me.
That's it. That's at the end of the day, like, what kind of society are we actually living in if they market choice to us, but you really still don't have a choice when you're on a budget? Like elections, the illusion of choice.
Or the illusion that the choices we're given are even part of the bigger picture, like the food. I mean, we're only dealing with 5% of it. How do we create a new environment, a new world, if we keep using the same ingredients from the old world? You know, and the transition is what everyone's scared of, the change.
But it's the Einstein insanity thing, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is insane.
Precisely.
Which is why it's hard when you wake up and live, and you wake up with so much energy. And then you get information overload, and then you have to take the time to actually pick something to do. Otherwise, you just feel like you want to take it all on at once, and then you don't accomplish anything at all. So tend into your own garden. Yeah.
Well, I feel like when you get overloaded, too, it's all those ingredients, you know, like we were talking about. Instead of breaking it down to the basics and making your own thought process, which I feel like internally is what we want. We want our own version. Kind of like the end of the prophet talks about, you know, I said some stuff, but I'm going to come back and say them in another way, in a way that your ears are more familiar with. And that's evolution. And that's what we're trying to do, is take these vibrations and evolve them into a more understandable vibration so that we get less, you know, counteraction from our own folks, you know.
That's the interesting thing about that prophet journey too. You know, I'm going to come back and say these things. And then you have the sprinkling of what you've learned on the road as well. So whether that road be the transition across the veil, what's up, Kelly, to the other side and reborn into as a new soul, or as a person who is literally taking a trip and going out and visiting the new worlds, new lands, and bringing back what you've learned to your home.
Yeah.
In translation.
In translation.
Meeting someone halfway where their ears are at and where their understanding is. Saying the same message to them. Like, I love that book, Acid for the Children by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Say more. I didn't know Flea wrote a book.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And I avoided it for a while because I thought he was like Anthony and we don't like him at all. But Flea seems like a decent cat for sure. And just like his education level and his knowledge is at a point where it's a bunch of micro chapters, kind of like The Prophet, little 2-3 page things about a person, place, or thing. And he has the ability to communicate the same message by writing as if a kindergartner wrote it and you understand it, or writing it like it's a Cal Berkeley study. And the chapters kind of alternate in the voice that he uses, but it's always so clear. And yeah, I don't know, In Translation just triggered that thought in my head. That's a really good book.
Like breaking down the ingredients of his life, you know, and then reforming it into a conversation where a whole new genre of people will download that. Like, that's kind of what I feel like we're all trying to do. We're like at the crossroads, you know, from yesterday and tomorrow. Always. That's what now is, you know. And
bridging the gap.
Yeah, it's a magic spot to be in all the time. And a lot of pressure because we feel like things are happening so slow. We're frustrated. You know, generations have gone by, but not to the rocks. You know, it's all your perspective. We were just talking about how old is this country? How many mistakes we've made. We're barely at this spot, yet we're so mad that people can't just vibrate right.
I get so frustrated.
But the social media thing, like you see how people get addicted to it. There's something that happens in public that's addiction as well that is positive. You know what I mean? There's things you can be addicted to that are positive. I love walking down the street and feeling like every time someone waves at me, I got a like. You know what I mean? Every time someone smiles at me, it's like, damn, I got a heart that time, you know? Or I'm subscribed to this street, you know?
I love that.
And it's that same thing. I love it. I want more of it, you know? But you only get a certain amount in real life, you know?
It's unlimited on the internet. Yeah.
Unlimited.
Makes your expectation way too, inflated.
Oh, it's funny that I feel called out because really this morning I woke up and as my coffee was brewing, I was like, how come my personal page has like 2 times as many or almost 2.5 times as many likes or follows as my In the Cab Radio and Instagram has. And on Facebook, my personal page has something almost like 800 people that follow me. And In the Cab Radio on Facebook, it's like under 200. And so I'm like, man, I want this to kind of flip. So what did I do? I just made my personal Instagram page public. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get some more likes. I was like, I don't really post anything personal anyway. And the things that I post are just cross-posting to those 2 pages because what's personal to me is relevant to the radio show and to society. You know? That's
the battle on the internet, and I faced it a little bit, like quite a few years ago. I was like generating a little income from being online and stuff, and it got.
I saw your blue check. Like, don't you have a blue?
Am I? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea, but it would get to a point where like anytime I would try and actually like do something. Crickets. Anytime I just posted a picture of an outfit I was wearing, thousands of people. And it just got to the point where it's like, that's what's hard about social media versus in real life, I guess, is do you even see me for me, or you just have this image in your head of what you like to see out of me, and that's what you want to see. like heaven forbid I actually try and like do something or pull off a project or something, then it's definitely crickets. But you like the clothes I wear, so cool. Here's some more pictures of me standing, staring off into this.
I like to see you standing. but the algorithm, and I wonder, what are they pushing? What really is getting pushed? Because people will buy clothes, but they're not gonna buy your project to make the world a better place. And I don't know. And then I wanted to segue real quick to the mirroring. Travis and I were talking about the two of you coming back on and touching on that subject that y'all have had out in the street with each other. The people seeing what they want to see on the internet and quote unquote liking what they like is a reflection of their interest or what they came to the internet for. So let's take that to the next level and talk about how we mirror each other on the street and in real IRL, in real life.
The things that you want to see, that's the bias that we all carry. And it's always wrong and right at the same time. And it's that back to the paradox situation where I've, heard people try to describe me from their perspective, and that's not how any of us see anything. So it's interesting. But we see other people how they would be with us. Because that's how you connect. You put yourself in there somehow, in their shoes, or how they would be with you. And that's the mirroring effect. Like, you're seeing potential in them, and you're relating. And so, there's that opportunity or potential. But how they see you is not how you see you.
It's a tough line to toe because I feel like a lot of the source of my mirroring, and I never really realized I did it till Travis called me out on it a couple of years ago. And then I was like, oh, this is constant. Like, this is all the time I'm doing this. And then I've had to scale it back a little bit and do it in a healthier way. But for a while, it was just like wanting to be a safe space for like anyone and like trying to give everyone a clean slate because like someone that's really struggling, it's hard for them to get better if you are also going to beat down on them. But if you mirror them and let them see their potential of who they could be through what you're providing to them, it gives them something to latch onto. And then, like I said yesterday, like permission to get better. So, but it's a tough line because like you were saying yesterday, if you see someone kind of hunched over and a little bit dark, your energy naturally, your shoulders drop a little bit and you just kind of wipe that kind of smile off your face and you go over and kind of meet them where they're at, let them know they're not crazy, they're safe in that space, but also learning to try and flip the mirror a little bit and show them their potential instead of just exactly what they're sitting in that moment, because then you're just reinforcing their loop, and that's super negative too. But it's a tough one, and I feel like mirroring comes naturally for others and not for other people.
These are trigger words like potential, could be, better, So I challenge us to consider that what you're doing is reflecting on them just an idea out of a myriad of possibilities of who does this person actually want to be, and what is better, quote unquote. Those are things that we have to take, because then we start to want to shape other people into our version of them.
It's almost making me realize why we get more engagement on our personal social media versus our project social media, because the personal stuff is very easy things that you want to attain, those jeans I'm wearing or that thing that you're doing or that place that you're going. But now when you're putting out a project to make the world a better place or something like that, like that's almost like the feeling of waking up and feeling overwhelmed by decision. Now there's this like massive thing I have to support. I don't know if I have that in me. I'm just going to look the other way. Yeah, back to the pants.
I got to listen to a whole 40 minutes of this podcast on In the Cab Radio at Linktree. Advertise. I want to take a moment here and, speaking of social media, and plug the show for real, and also let y'all know, if you're just tuning in, where you can find the next book club book. So please do go to In the Cab Radio at Linktree and scroll down at book club resources, and you'll see at the top of that little bunch there Dean Spade's Mutual Aid, Building Solidarity Through This Crisis and the Next. And we're going to start taking this on, and I hope these two will join in, and a couple of other folks from our In the Cab Radio family, hoping to have Hot Diggity and Lil Queen Trashmouth in here to talk about it, and a couple of other folks, because we are all about, quote, survival work, okay? And inside the jacket, you'll see survival work when done alongside social movement. Demands for transformative change is called mutual aid. Mutual aid is the radical act of caring for each other while working to change the world.
Radical act to, what did that say? One more time?
Run
that first line.
Run that back. Mutual aid is the radical act of caring for each other.
How radical is that?
Well, here's the thing. You know, maybe that's it though.
Yeah,
because it touches on what I was just saying about when we were saying looking at somebody and seeing quote unquote potential to make them quote unquote better, when really what we want to do is care for them. If we care for them while they're going through whatever they're going through and trying to doing their striving, then that's our job.
Then it's still
not
their
to
path.
bring out what we think they should be.
No, but when you're projecting an intention, you know, vibrationally, like when someone's low and you try to meet them in the low spot and they're in public, which happens a lot around here. You see people low and then they go into public. Mm-hmm. And it's that's a special moment of vulnerability. You know what I mean? They know they can't project anything else, but what they are hoping for is that they can see some energy from the side and experience it and feel it, and then they have a goal. You know what I mean?
But we don't know that.
Well,
we and what I'm offering
when I see people kissing, for instance, like young couples or something, I see that love that they're sharing, and I can feel it myself just from that glance. And then it almost gives me something to look for, you know, a fruit of some kind, like.
Well, what I'm challenging is the I versus the them. So you can say I am looking for this, but the person, you know, Bill standing next to me. I mean, that's my phantom person is Bill. I don't know what that person. I don't know what Bill wants to feel right now. I only know what I want to feel. So I know I could care for Bill in the way that I express care, but I can't say what kind of energy that person wants. So that's a minor tweak, because and it's so important to me to continue this point of view, because we do stuff. We've talked about this on the show. People can say, "I'm doing this for your betterment. This is for your own good." And it's like, man, you know what? Like, and somebody said yesterday for me at the firehouse, if you're listening, I love you for this. However, it does cross my mind, like, you need a hug, and I'm like, I wasn't aware that I needed a hug. And this is a person that I love, but I stepped into it, and I'm like, okay, I will honor what you see, and having a hug from you is only gonna probably make me feel good because you're someone that I love and care about. But it is a bit of a taking it aback, because it's like you're looking at me and seeing something that I didn't see, nor was I aware that I wanted, and I had to bring myself to a place. And that may or may not be proving either one of our points just in that one instance, though. But some people might say, I need to grieve right now. I need to feel this darkness right now, because that's where I want to be. And so if we approach from a place of caring, then we just say, okay, whatever you need, because we have to check in with that other person and not tell them what they need, but to say, do you need this right now? And then that gives that person their autonomy.
Especially in a place like this where a lot of us are pretty demand avoidant. Like telling someone you need this,
yeah,
and you need that, it's going to make you be like, no.
Yeah. And in a society where we're intimacy avoidant and touch avoidant, it's like, don't come over, because maybe you need to give me a hug because you're used to operating in this place. And please don't think that I'm...
No, but this, I feel like the paradox starts to sneak in again, because paradox. Like autonomy. I mean, we all came out here to be alone together.
It's my favorite.
And that line doesn't make any sense, but when you think about it, we can only handle a certain amount of each other, so we take it at that level. But I've taken that autonomy to the extreme, where suddenly I have a pinched nerve in my back. I can't lift a freaking coffee cup. I can't do any of the things in the house that I need to do to survive. And suddenly the village is like, you look like you need a hug. And I got 3 ladies in the house just like cooking the food, fixing my back, doing the thing. And they were like, screw you for being all by yourself. And, you know, that's the village I love.
I would never want that. Please never do that for me. Like,
no, but
no,
it wasn't until they left, because no one comes in my space like that.
Yeah.
I felt invaded at first, but when they left, I was like, I would have been suffering for a week.
Yeah.
I've seen these pinched nerves happen before. They don't just go away until they're treated, until someone knows the magic. Lily White Swan, Catherine, Lori Otino, all that.
No,
you know,
yeah, and I get that. And when I'm just the minor tweak as in your back, we all have our different relations to having things being forced upon us. Okay, so please just check in with a person and say, please let me care for you, because that's what they were doing. And you, and what I'm asking others in this is, because this goes right with the mutual aid book. Hey,
Plug it.
Yeah, I mean, please, you know, we're going to go down this road together in depth. You know, and that's where the bell hooks comes in, and when self-awareness comes in, and accepting that we are in community together, it forces us all to look at ourselves and each other with respect to boundaries, because yes, people do have a problem with being intrusive in this town. Like, people like forcing their touch on other folks, like that's really upsetting to some people, and it was to you in the beginning. And we also are here on this show to remind people listening to overcome our blockage to help, to receiving. So there's a meeting in the middle on both parts to say, hey, I want to care for you. I see that you're in pain, and I want to offer to help you. And I've approached people like this, and then I've been pushy and be like, let me help you. And I'm like, okay, all right. You know, but there's a way to get permission that I'm just asking for folks to consider. That's all. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all on the same page of wanting to give love and receive love and care.
And that feels more like true help too, because then you're listening to them instead of, I guess, being like, let me help you. Clearly you need it. And then in parentheses, because you're affecting my life in a way that I need it to end. And then you're like, that's why I need to help you. But instead of just asking them in like a pure way, and maybe a way of helping them even inconveniences your life a little bit more. But if you truly want to help, then you're doing it.
That's how we went to the Gibran chapter on giving.
Yes, worthy to give. Are you worthy to give?
Yeah.
That's that other side of it.
There's an understanding that, and I use the collective we all play both parts, right? So as a receiver, we have to come off our ego and say, I'm doing something for this person to allow them to give to me. Mm-hmm. How do we want a society where people learn how to be compassionate and generous, and we all walking around saying, no, I don't need nothing from you? That's
for
just
what?
a mixed message. Like,
we become so independent that we're completely like codependent.
Yeah. Really though, you know? So you ran out and got this book. Tell us about it, Michael, this pamphlet that y'all brought for me to take home.
This is the teachings of him, Emperor Selassie, and this goes all the way back to what, the 1910s, 1920s, Trev? Mm-hmm. And just like, we always nerd out about the things that you read from, to us, is like so long ago that are still so relevant now. And I like in the line in that song when it was talking about misinterpreting the Bible.
Yes.
Making it seem like women were the origin of sin. But if you really boil it down to the truth, every time it's just pure equality and love. And I feel like sometimes, I mean, I guess with the DJs and the music, like it was talking about too, like sometimes things drift from the truth. It's like playing a game of telephone, and over time and over time and over time, people start to draw conclusions. But to get back to like Rastafarianism and what they actually practice are based off the teachings of Emperor Selassie. And even in this book, which is a teaching from the 1920s, he says, nothing gives us greater happiness than having founded development programs and seeing that men and women are now equally benefiting from the projects which we initiated for all Ethiopia. So even then, you might think he was preaching some sort of patriarchal society where women are lesser than, but literally the teachings that he provided are saying equal.
Yeah, they had to get back to what their philosophy before colonization happened, and they put that wedge between the family.
It started with, this is not the first time that Ethiopian women have served their country and their emperor side by side with their menfolk.
That's right. Hello. And now we come all the way this way, and they're like, oh, the Rastafari reggae, demeans women. But just what you were saying, and I talk to people about this all the time. When we go back to indigenous religions, indigenous ways of life, standing from where we are in 2025, and we're trying to jump over 500, 600 years of colonization thought, you can't tell me that what I'm trying to get back to is not untainted by colonialist thought. So today's interpretation of even the ancient ways, we have to decolonize all that and wade through all of that to get back to where we were as equals.
Because what we're striving for is not novel. It's to like go back to something that has existed before. We go straight from the past.
Yes, for sure. What you got, Trav?
Looking for those same ingredients for the next stew that we're cooking up right now.
It's like, and we taste the stew, right? And it's like, I think there's too much cilantro in this batch. Or, my mom's recipe had raisins in it, and I'm not messing with that raisin bread pudding. Right. Like, I liked everything but that part. You know what I mean? Not that my mom put raisins in anything. She's probably listening and going to text me later. Like, don't tell people I put raisins in it.
But we were talking about it before, like the word nature. What do people think of when they say that's not natural? When have we spoke of aught else? It's like that. It's nature is everything. So when we break it down to what we think it is, instantly you're missing all the ingredients of the plant. You're talking about like 5% of it. This is what nature is. This is what nature does. We don't spend all day staring at nature. And if you did, you would realize that nature doesn't know what it's doing either. It's just busy doing it. And it's changing what it's doing all the time. That's the thing that is constant with nature. Change, evolution. The bugs, plants, they're all like taking the different ingredients in and trying to create something new. They're not trying to take the ingredients in and create what they've been doing. And so time for us is a weird thing. We're always frustrated not being there. And we'll try to like divide things with the wedge, us and nature. Nature adores us. Get that through your head immediately, And
we are it.
We are it. Have we talked of aught else?
Right.
The only reason we don't hang out and talk with animals is because we didn't fit that into our day.
Right, because colonialism.
But when someone says something is unnatural, it just tells me that they don't know what nature is, because some people like the expression, like, you don't tell me which way the wind blows. Nobody tells. The wind doesn't know which way the wind blows.
That's why we love New Mexico. It just be blowing all the ways.
I blow bubbles. I know which way, and it's every which way.
It's every which way.
But some people will feel the air and say it's blowing in that direction, and that's how we try to stamp down those words like nature is this. Some people will say that, LGBTQ is unnatural, yet you'll find these exact same statistics through nature.
Plant kingdom, animal kingdom.
Of the things. So what is it? It's absolutely nature. It's not a plan B. It's part of plan A, and we try to categorize things, but we're just taking ingredients off of our own list of the stew that we're going to make. And we know how complex and amazing of a stew we could make. We feel it from our inside. And I feel like that's the soul talking to us. Like all the talking we do to our head, I don't think our soul even listens to, because it's that vibration behind the eyes, the feeling. You can only feel it.
Yes, I'm trying to get back to this with people, back to the point of spirit. And recently on my socials, I've shared a couple of stories about divesting from whiteness and about connection with spirit. And when we start to unpack capitalism and colonialism and understand that there's nothing wrong with us, in the sense that take that ingredient out of the stew. What is this thing that I realize is raising my blood pressure or is poisoning my soup? And recognizing that and getting it out of there. So we know as humans that we are part of nature on a soul level. I am reiterating everything that you're saying and reminding for the audience in plain language how this relates to where we're at today and where I hope for us to go. And there is a natural evolution that happens. I keep threatening the people with the Tao and touching on some of the verses of the Tao. Like the bee does not try to pollinate the tree. Nature isn't trying. And that's exactly what you're saying. It's just doing. Evolution happens through the doing. And if we go with the flow of things and are in connection with the vibration of things, then everything will go exactly the way that it needs to go. And according to cooperation with spirit, So when we're out here trying to meet a clock, when we're out here, and I think there's another thing about Madrid, is when I first got here, the houses weren't $500,000 and stuff like that, then there's still us folks who are, and we are trying to maintain rent and also go with the flow of nature, to be in community, in the village, showing up for each other with our energy exchange, and also keep the lights on. That's a striving that comes with that. But just to remember to reconnect with each other and reconnect with nature. And that is the soul or the course of spirit that goes through everything. Not even a conscious soul, but the vibe.
Just a quick one to tie it back into that first song, Wake Up and Live. There's a line where he says, so much work to do, just take it little by little, or do it little by little. And I feel like Madrid is kind of evident of that. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by decision and how can I make an impact, maybe look at your small little garden, your small little community, and just start with something, just baby steps, just in the general direction. And then it will all come together. It will come together. There's hope.
There's hope. Travis, what you got?
Oh, I'm just soaking it all in. I'm like speechless right now. Just thinking about like old calculations. What does it say in the scriptures? Where is God, but where two or more are gathered in his name.
There we go.
Straight up.
All right, y'all. That's it. Thanks for gathering with us. Thank you for reasoning with us and listening. In the Cab Radio at Linktree, it doesn't really write out like that, but just type that in your search engine. That's easier than remembering all the dots and slashes. And you can catch more of our conversations together. Check out the archives and the link to the book called Mutual Aid by Dean Spade, which is the next book club book. Not exactly sure on the date that we'll be starting it, if it'll be next Saturday or the following. I'm hoping to get a couple of other guests in here to talk about some other issues that are going on in the world. But please continue to join in with us.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Bless
all right,
up.
that's the most. Bless up. Love y'all. In the Cab Radio is produced by Jada White, a.k.a. Dream Queen. Original theme music produced by Baby Weekend Boys and Icky Mac the Beat Jugular. Learn more at In the Cab Radio at Linktree. Thank you so much for tuning in.